1st, 2020, City of Somerton regular council meeting, 11 p.m. And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya.
Present.
Vice Mayor Marta Garcia.
Present.
Councilmember Miguel Villalpando.
Present.
Councilmember Carlos Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilmember Luis Galindo.
Present.
Councilmember Jesus Roldan.
Present.
Councilmember Juan Castillo.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on, out to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to address council?
Me.
State your name and address.
My name is Manny Valenzuela, 1150 South Columbia Avenue, Somerton, Arizona. I just have a few questions for the council.
We can't answer questions.
Okay, so just my comments is, we talk about, well, the city of Somerton talks about supporting local, shop local, to keep it local, and it's just concerning when that doesn't happen. Me as a citizen that's been here for many years, when we do give the opportunity to other, companies or businesses that aren't from Somerton, so we can try to keep it local. That's just my concern, is to say do what we say we're going to do here in Somerton. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. We have two items in the agenda: approval of October 6, 2020 regular council meeting minutes, approval of October 20, 2020 regular council meeting. Is there a motion?
So move, Mayor.
So motion by Councilman Gonzalez. Second by Councilman Galindo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's no public hearing. Moving on to presentations. Discussion regarding future use of various City of Somerton owned properties located 110 North State Avenue, 150 West Main Street, 203 West Main Street, 404 West Main Street, 674 East Main Street, 246 West Thomas Street, 1298 West Main Street. Proposed parkland. Mayor and Council, before you have the zoning map, on there you do see city properties. City properties numbered, and on the map itself, you will see the actual numbers on there. For example, number 1 is 110 North State Avenue, which is previous City Hall, and right next to it, it does have number 1. There actually both buildings are there. And I know at one point was there to sell that property. We did get an estimate of the structural retrofit for the building next to it. The retrofit alone is about, from the structural engineer, is estimated about $150,000 just to retrofit that portion of the building. The old City Hall, it's obviously it's going to be demolished, I believe. Is that the direction that was given? We hasn't been official.
Okay.
That could be discussed here and see what council wants, but I believe my preference would be to discuss property individually instead of like putting it out here, especially downtown, being that it has some of the buildings, City Hall, newer building, but the one next to it then has more historic value, so something that. So so those two areas, the 110 North State Avenue and 150 Main Street, which is The 150 Main Street is right across City Hall or County Corner, and that one is currently used as parking more than anything else, but that one's also for sale. I don't know if there was any direction given in terms of what to do with that property, if it's going to be sold, if it's going to be used for parking lot. But at least you have an idea. Because that's right across the street, which is 150 Main Street.
The one where they're gonna build a Chinese place?
Actually, I'm sorry, that's 203 West Main Street. So there's two directions. 150 West Main Street is a historical building that you watch. And then the 110 North is Avenue, 110 is the old City Hall. Number 2 is 203 West Main Street. Is that the one? Across the street, yes. And that one right now is currently used as parking, but it is for sale by, who's the developer, or who's the agent developer?
SBN is the broker helping us with this corner, the old City Hall site. This building here in this corner. But the other Creek corner, the other one, that's not, we don't have a broker on that one. It's also for sale. We did the RFP for both corners. We had an open RFP. If someone trying to buy the corner too as well, we already have an open RFP.
And then number 3 is 404 West Spring Street. That is also used as a parking lot. At this point, obviously with COVID, not everyone's parking up there on that street or that parking lot. But it's my understanding that it's not being utilized by staff or vendors, more for residential than anything else. But that's at number 3, and that's on Spring and Union. Number 4 is 674 East Main Street, and that one is basically that's the Miller Building. We discussed. I think Hector did pull out a value of it and appraise it. Correct, Hector? We paid for that building about $600,000.
Yes, 540 was the actual transfer from the city of Somerton to the IDA 5 years ago. But right now it's under the IDA control, but it's due to go back to the city after the loan is paid off. Right now we have so far 5 years paying the loan, and it's supposed to be off maybe in the next 4 to 5 years to pay it off completely. It's about $390,000 left on the loan. So once it's paid off the note, it's safe to go back to the city.
What was it appraised at?
The appraisal, it was on 2015, it was close to $1 million in 2015.
You can see that it might be a big difference in what the value is currently.
Yes.
Especially when there's a tenant already in place for the next 10 years.
Oh yeah, with a tenant in place for 2027. So the actual contract, it has a lot more value on that property.
Number 5 is a parking lot that's right behind Dragon de Oro in that area. It's also just a parking lot as well. All these parking lots were used or done when Main Street was redeveloped. And no parking in that area. Those additional parking lots were added there. Number 6 is the commercial area, and that's already has been discussed. The 20 acres to be sold as commercial area. But number 7 is another area to look at, which is number 7 is a part of the 35 acres that we own, and at one point was going to be open space, but it is also another area to consider. Selling or what have you. High school does not need it at this point because most of their facilities are going to be, well, actually all the facilities are going to be in their location. And then the number that's not on here is a resident lot that's on Van Brunton, and it's between Andrea Avenue and Van Brunton on Veranda Estates. And there is a line there, a drainage line I think we get the, you said drainage line or is it a sewer line? It connects the retention and at least that's what it told us.
There's a lift station right there.
Okay. So in that house, there is no, it's just a residential open space and no construction. When I spoke to Sam about this property today, as I found out, the only way to build a house is there has to be an 8-foot easement on that parallel of those 100 feet. Basically, the house would have to shift just a tad to the north. But that's another area to look at to see if there's a potential to sell that property or keep it and maintain it or do something with it.
What's the address again, Jim?
Pardon?
What is the address again?
I'm not too sure the address because I just found out I wasn't too sure. It's right behind the retention basin. You go up. Right there. Where the is pointed out. There's a retention basin on. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's it. So all this is our property currently, and we need some direction in terms of maybe in the future, give us some direction on certain properties of what to guide us in terms of what you want us to do with those properties. It is something to think about and something for the community to be aware of.
Well, on Main Street, obviously you want retail, that's what you want. If there are an RFP, we gotta ensure that retail goes in. Always is the goal. That's what produces sales tax. We own the land, and that's the ultimate goal. On the Miller building, there's Councilman Villalpando, you've been here. I don't know what the goal was there. If you recall, it was Galindo too. So.
The ultimate goal for that Miller building, it was just, since it was just sitting there as framed up and there was no movement. Right now, we have a $2 million valuation on it and we spend, what, $500K on it? So I'd say right now, I'm not opposed to selling it. I mean, it would be enticing for whoever bought it because they would have a tenant already in there. If we could turn around and invest those $2 million elsewhere to make much needed improvements. So we did get criticized for buying that building, but as it turns out, we did a wise investment with city money. So I think now could be the time to actually cash out and invest those funds somewhere else where the city and the members of the community can share in that investment that we did. So I mean, we could turn around and make improvements on parks and in other areas. So for me, $2 million of a $500,000 investment, why not? We could look at possibly selling that.
Yeah, and it was always a goal to. It was during the downturn, and that building was abandoned, and just to save it and to improve that area, and just to keep it there. And I'd rather also that it's the same thing with the 35350, but eventually the goal is not for the city to be owning business to at least promote those what we envision to be our downtown or business district. Eventually, we can sell it. And that would be the way to go. And also, if not in front, the other one, in the alley, if we can approach the owner and if they want to buy it back or whatever it is. But yeah, that was one that was probably one of the first items when it came into council that came in, and was a well-known family, known to the council members, and they had been promised, and we had the whole family here, and that's the reason that we bought that lot. Really, just has 2 trash cans there, and car once in a while, and we can find a creative way to use it.
Mayor, council members, the rental house owner, the business owner, he approached me a few months ago asking if the city is willing to sell the lot because he would like to use it for parking for his restaurant. My sister.
What was that?
The rental house restaurant is coming up over here.
Was he the one that was gonna buy that property at the beginning?
Yes.
This one. No, not that one.
Well,
He wants to buy that.
Oh, the one behind that.
He was gonna buy the corner, but he bought the building on the
He wants to
on,
buy the one at the alley.
yeah, he asked me a couple months ago.
Is that we probably can't make decisions here, but put out an RFP, and if it makes sense, we'll evaluate it. That's the response.
Yeah, we have to do an RFP.
But all these properties, don't feel that you are tied up. If the opportunity comes, we've discussed it a lot of times that we're open to everything. Especially if it's retail, then we're open.
What was our appraisal for the deal?
5 years ago, it was $1 million, but right now with all the remodel improvements, it may be a lot more than that. But we don't know until we get an appraisal.
Miller Building?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like 500. Then how much was the to complete it? Was another like 700?
Yeah, 700 was the total improvements.
We've added parking, 2 parking lots,
No,
LED lighting.
So we don't
own that parking lot.
We don't own the parking.
no, we lease the parking for the tenant. They pay for it.
Well, you mentioned that if I really wasn't here, but it's something that
Eventually, we should sell all that land. Competing with private.
yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say when we bought that Miller Building, because it was an eyesore coming into the community, it was deteriorating because it was just sitting there. So we bought it, but the plan was to sell it once it was up and running.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mayor, there's some properties here that, as you mentioned, we have talked about it for many years, and we're still in the same place. You know, they're still there. And I know for the fact that properties like the one on Spring, over there by the corner, that parking is being used by people that live around those houses. They park their vehicles there. People from the church on Sundays, they park their vehicles there. Why don't you approach the church and let them know if they're willing to buy the property for parking? Because they don't have any parking up there. And I know that it's right on Main Street as well, this corner. I know that Mr. Cecilio has been looking for properties behind the building because he wants more parking. Maybe, you know, if we agree with the council, we can sell it to him so he can park it there as well. You know, and you need to approach, you know, don't just wait that everything's, I know that you've been working as hard as you can to be able to sell some properties, but, you know, something you're doing is not working. You need to change your strategy to be able to approach these people. So, you know, look around, you know, like I say, you know, like go to the pastor and talk to them, you know, would you like to buy that property out there in the corner for, you know, to be your own? And they'll probably say, why do we want to buy it? We're using it right now. And again, is, you know, because if we put like restriction thing, like parking for the city of Somerton, it's private, it's not private parking, but it's, anybody can park there, but I just have some restrictions, like we have in some parks as well. You know,
Parking after 10.
I agree with you on the parking over here on Spring, but I don't agree with you the one over here on Main Street. That's farmland, and we can sell it for retail for something instead of a parking. Don't approach the folks. They'll give you $10,000.
You know, so I'd rather see that, you know, promoted for something, you know, like you have been doing for the last year. Unfortunately, the house, rental house, it's not enough time.
Yeah, right, Councilmember Galindo. The intent of economic development is to start, and they can sell back to the private sector, not to keep it for a long time. Yes, to start the development. And the property that Councilmember Gonzalez mentioned, the owners behind that lot, they wanted to buy it a couple of years ago for residential use for them to expand their home. That could be approachable too, but it was outside our boundaries. My focus was only on Main Street, not outside the Main Street. But if that's the case, based on this conversation, then we can approach other areas as well.
And hopefully we don't bring this every couple of months. Understand that, listen to everybody, and come and talk to us. But feel free to understand that council is willing to work with anything, and especially that just because it's not on Main Street doesn't mean that the city owns it. Talk to the city manager. They'll talk to the council and at least get a feel for what understand that. And any lot we're willing to take, if it's retail, if it's on Main Street, retail. If it's outside of Main Street, be creative. If a landowner approaches you, then we can sell it. If a landowner approaches you or a church, yeah, just you don't have to tell them yes, we're going to do it, but yeah, I'll take it to council. That's perfectly normal. They only have to wait two weeks to get an answer. So that's going to be a problem.
Mayor, for me, quite honestly, probably a lot property number one, the 110 is probably going to have to be 10. You know, reason we built the city hall was because it was pretty deteriorated in there, and it's not going to do anybody any good. So don't even bother putting that out for an RFP. Maybe we should look at demoing that section. As far as the 150 West Main Street, I see us possibly spending a lot more than 150 to retrofit it. You know, commercial sites, I wish Carmen was here. I believe commercials require sprinkler systems.
This is just to retrofit it, not any of the interior. This is just to make sure the walls are sound.
Oh, make it structurally
just structurally sound.
And then that's
It'll be a lot more to the model.
yeah. So I'm not sure if anybody's willing to take on a project like that and invest a lot of money.
And the other issue is we tried to demo 110 because of the movement of the earth and soil and the walls. That other building may fall too. So it's kind of work together on that one.
So it sounds like it's up in here whether it's even salvageable. You know, because we all know that property 110 it's got to go. You know, there's nothing you can really do.
One thing we can approach is Historic Society to see if there's a grants available, to see if they can put in more money to make sure that that gets salvaged, if it gets considered as a historical building.
So there you go. I guess it's pretty much a wait and see on that particular corner. But we do own the parking lot right next to the 150. It comes with parking right next to it. So for property number two, as long as it generates revenue, tax revenue, whether it's retail, restaurant, whatever it is, that's what I'm looking for. You know, is making sure that they generate some type of property value or tax base for us. But the rest of them, they're buyers. They were during the RFP process, and let's get rid of them. I mean, we've always said we're not in the business of being developers. We don't want to be developers. The only reason we bought these particular properties or we acquired them is to make sure that, just like the Miller building, It looked awful coming into our community. Gave a bad perception of who we really were, so we took it upon ourselves to invest in it. And now, if it's time to sell it, then let's sell it. You know, we did invest the money, but we also recouped a lot of it for the lease of the building.
Oh, yes.
So I just think it's time for us to focus on some other areas that need improvement within the community. So these properties could be used probably a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with that. I'm going the old, like, I've been here for 12 years, and that other building has been there empty since before that. And, we have been here in this building for what, 4 or 5 years?
3 years.
3 years, and that building has been, nobody's gonna buy it, so I think it's time for demolition. I know Mayor Anaya doesn't want because it starts the beautiful ceiling, but, we don't have the money to do that. Nobody's gonna come and put $120,000, $200,000. And, I think it'll be better, it'll sell better if we demolish and sell it as a land, it's a prime land. It has parking on it. I don't know how big is that. That's the name, how big is that?
It's 0.2 acres, the whole thing.
I feel there's value in preserving old buildings. Yeah, it's 120, 150,000 to retrofit it, but it's still, it's important to our history. And that's why I would want to have it as a individual discussion item, because if we could retrofit that building, that just make it structurally sound, and then demolish the other building. But then again, not just the old city hall, which we could put our RFP in, but not demolish it and wait and leave it there and wait. Just we could put it in, and the RFP we could say that the city's going to demolish it or whatever, but just to demolish it and hoping that somebody's going to get there. But that building was being used, it was for city hall, but it was being used 3 years ago, so it can be remodeled if somebody chooses. So it's one of those things that at least, but with that building, I was overruled before, and I'm going to fight to preserve our history. It isn't. And we can save that building and just leave it structurally sound, and somebody comes and wants to buy it and invest in it. There is, look at downtown Yuma, Fred, the Pine House, they're the same. The same way, but they were willing to, and that's what we're trying to do with 85350, trying to bring business to Somerton, and hopefully with the new high school, more people here than with new development, then we have people. But I have a vision for Somerton, not just now, like for the future, and preserving those buildings to me is important. But then again, I'm just one vote. That would be.
See, and piggyback, what you're saying, this is why we gotta get rid of some of those other properties so we can make that investment to preserve those type of buildings. If you don't sell them, there's those $150,000 can be used, which are needed somewhere else. So in order to justify investment on that particular building, we have to get rid of some of these other properties.
Then we have to take into consideration to that. If Sunset builds a new building on the west side, that corner is going to be empty. And if we want to, buy it, maybe keep it control, that what we want on downtown, we have to sell something, to buy the connection. So we have to think about. I think it's this is the time to be thinking about DES and the other fields.
A little bit right now that the interest rates are
Huh?
You mean to your work?
What are you doing outside?
It's a better of the historical society to be a good one too. There are a lot of grants to preserve historical buildings that they could look into and maybe we don't have to, you know, put out those 150,000. Maybe it at least get it structured.
The first step would just try to research what it would take to register as a historic building. So we can tap into those grants.
And also, think about if we demolish the other ones, if it's gonna affect that building. Before we do anything, I think.
Yeah, we have to be careful because of the structure. Yeah.
There's ways to do it. Any other comments?
No, Mayor, I was just gonna say that, you know, I kind of, I know the, they're asking for us to get our input on these properties that are owned by us, but I think, I mean, I agree with Councilman Villalpando and also with part of what you're saying, Mayor, that to me is just, Hector, present us with what's out there, bring us those options to the table so that we can just discuss this further. As far as preserving that old city hall, I personally, I think it just depends on what's on the table. I think that would factor a lot into my decision making. So just kind of get creative all around, and I think we're open to see what's out there. That's all I wanted to say, Mayor.
Yes, it was just a discussion. That does definitely help in terms of some guidance. So once we get to a point of a sale or an idea, we'll bring it up to you in each individual case.
We're open. Not tell people no. Moving on to new business. First, discussion and public action to select the vice mayor for the city of Somerton.
Mayor, if I make it?
Yes.
Okay, before we do the nomination, I would like to say something. Around 2.5 years ago, we had voted to select the vice mayor on a yearly basis. So every council member will get some experience working alongside the mayor. I honestly believe back then that it was going to be on a rotation basis, not as a nomination process. So 2 years ago, when we started this vice mayor process, Mrs. Garcia and I were nominated, and we both accepted the nomination. When we voted, the council decided for Mrs. Garcia. Last year, when we had this item on the agenda, if I recall, a councilman nominated Mr. Castillo, but he declined the nomination, and instead, he nominated Mr. Garcia, and I believe I seconded the nomination. Since no one else was nominated, Mrs. Garcia became the vice mayor for the second year in a row. So why am I bringing this up? I know for a fact that some of us have talked to several council members this year and asked them if they would like to be nominated. And they have said no and explained the reasons behind it. So this is where I stand, and I will be very honest about it. We know that no council member has been willing to accept a nomination since we started this process, with the exception of Mrs. Garcia and I. Now, I'm sure that even if I get nominated and someone seconds the motion, I'm sorry to say this because I don't consider myself a loser, but I know from the bottom of my heart that I will not have enough votes from this council to be appointed as the vice mayor. I personally don't see the reason going through the same protocol every year for my reasons stated. Mayor, I would like to recommend that whoever gets nominated and he or she gets voted in to remain as a vice mayor until the end of the term.
Any other comments? I think, what I recall, Mayor, when we did for a year, I think we decided that we were going to do it on a year. I don't recall the rotation, but I recall that just to see if anyone else was wanted to
get experience or at least be out there. I mean, I track. I know. You know, I was asked before. I can. I know some of you guys also can. But I mean, I think if we continue that for a year, it will be good because you never know what happens in 1 year.
And you know, this has been in place since I was vice mayor too, but we just never had it in writing that it was going to be a year. But that was the intent of having it a year, and that's what was put in writing. But it wasn't like, yeah, there was talks of like having a rotation, but it's not, doesn't have to be. You know, it's depend on, it's a council nominated. The reason was because we didn't have it very clear. So I was nominated as vice mayor. I spent maybe 6 years as vice mayor, and and it was so it was just if the council wanted. So yeah, the conversation was, yeah, if you does it every year. San Luis has a vote every year, but they usually pick this one. Now they have a new vice mayor. It depends on the council and how they feel. As long as you don't put me on the spot like last time, you know, I'm fine.
And that proves my point, Mayor. We have asked several council members if they're willing to be nominated, and they have declined the nomination. So, and you're right, you know, I know that you were that when I came on board, I think you were nominated as a mayor, vice mayor, and you stayed there for about 6 years. And so I think Miguel brought it up 3 years ago, you know, that we should do it on a yearly basis. And to me, it was going to be like a rotation. And I understand that because, you know, but it turned to be a nomination. And I don't have any problem with that. The only thing is that if everybody's declining their nomination, why follow the same protocol every year when, you know, you might be probably the same person every year? And again, I don't have a problem with that as well. But to me, it's better to have someone nominated for the 4 years or until their term is being terminated, or is, you know. And I'll tell you what, with us here, all 5 of us, if we continue running for council, and that's what I have seen throughout the whole these last years, we're gonna be here for 10, 15 years if we continue being running for an elected official. And I wish we had other, you know, like especially millennials, you know, come on board, and like Manny here, you know, if he will be interested in running as a council member, you know, you'll have my support, you know, because I think that we gotta keep moving, you know. We can't be just, you know, changes are good, you know. But again, it's I wish we had more people participating in the community for the elected position. I know it's hard, but again, I just want to bring this up because you know, I did call several council members and they say they're not, like Lucius mentioned, I don't have time, you know, etc. And I know that like Ms. Garcia and myself, you know, we have the time, we're retired. I'm not saying that I like to be nominated right now, but to prove my point is that the people that we have asked, they don't want to be nominated. Instead, you know, they want to continue with the same person, which is fine.
So that's why it is a nomination, and someone, they can decline it or accept it. It's not an election.
I think, you know, I was asked if I was going to be vice mayor. I've been here, this is my 4th term, and I said no. And the reason I said no is not just because I want to be the vice mayor, I want to be the right hand of the mayor. The reason I said no, I think I have to be thinking of who voted me in, of the community. Because if I'm going to say yes, I want to be vice mayor, but I don't have the time. I work at the hospital, I don't have the time to say, sorry, patient, I have to go, I'll be back and hold the surgery. No, I can't. So we have to be always mindful of who are we serving? Are we serving ourselves or serving the community? For me, it's more important to serve the community. I can't, so this is, you know, I'll be hypocrite if I say, yes, I want to be vice mayor, but I'm going to not gonna be able to support the mayor. So we want somebody, and we feel that at this point, it's one of you guys, Miguel, maybe Marta, maybe you, or Juan. I said no, and I heard Mr. Roldan said no. But that doesn't mean we have to do it. If it's the same person, well, it will be the same person, but that person is doing a good job, is out there helping the mayor, and we have to think first, what are they doing to the mayor? Not just think, I want to be the vice mayor so I can be vice mayor.
And
So we have to think of the
Go ahead, Councilman Castillo.
yeah, and mayor and council, I kind of, I kind of like the process that we do have in place. I mean, I think, going up and selecting someone for the end of the term. I mean, I think I like the flexibility of every year, having that opportunity to nominate. I don't see the reason as to why we should change that if that's the process that we've currently have, and why change it if it's working? I mean those are my thoughts, and I think in the past, like Mr. Galindo said, some there were approaches that were declined. I mean, situations do change. This is another year, and maybe some are more available for this year. That's just my 2 cents on that. I mean, I think the process that we have, doing it on a yearly basis, I mean, to me, that's been working well. I think Vice Mayor Garcia has done an excellent job. But that would be my recommendation, just kind of to keep it as it is. Keep the process on a yearly basis.
Here, if I may, just to finish my thought. And I don't have any problem, continue with the same process of the nomination, even though I said, if we're gonna be nominating someone and they're not wanna be, what they don't wanna be the nomination, and then we have somebody else and they're saying no, and I know we have to do it every year and it's a process, but then whoever gets nominated, to me, it will be better. Just, you know what, you do such a great job and everybody's keep putting you in, just keep it to you in any turn. And that's
the issue there. Say if we don't keep the vice mayor, is not against that vice mayor. It's just the process, and it opens up. If we know that we have a council with the last couple of years that during the work session, we've been able to fill a full forum sometimes. So if we had a council that was able to come to all the work sessions and everything, that's when you start looking into, okay, then we can start looking about it. It doesn't mean that's when the process works, but I don't see it like like an election or being against it. It's just like part of the process. If we had a council that was utensils here and everything, yeah, it would be something, it's just I think, what Councilman Galindo says, be realistic. He's been here the longest, Villalpando has been here the longest, and it would make sense that they could do the job, but if Galindo doesn't have time. I wouldn't have an issue, and I'm sure Vice Mayor would have an issue nominating Galindo if he has the time and he's been here for years and serving as the Vice Mayor. We all respect him. Let's know that.
So, I mean, if changes, what hasn't been happening that is causing a rift, who out there would accept the nomination? Mr. Castillo, would you accept the nomination if nominated?
Yeah, I would accept the nomination.
Okay. We all know that Councilman Roldan wouldn't, Councilman Galindo wouldn't. We have one that would. Same question to the Vice Mayor, would you accept it? There's two. See? Would you accept it? I guess if you guys want me to, but quite honestly, I've done all the positions, so for me, I really enjoy the fact that others get the exposure and the ability to do the duties. But I would never say no.
And Mayor, I was asked also that question if I wanted to be a vice mayor. You know, my current work is a big position. You know, a lot of things are learning and stuff like that, and I don't have the time to make it. Like, after all this is settled and, you know, I know everything that I'm doing, you know, why not? But at this time, you know, and that's the only reason, not because I want to do it, not because, you know, it's just that, like Mr. Galindo said, we have to be realistic in what we're doing. And let's say you cannot attend a meeting and you're relying on me, and I don't go, then, you know, what's the point of me trying to be a vice mayor if I cannot attend the meeting? So, you know, like, again, it's not that I don't want to, it's that we have to be realistic in our jobs. And I think others have the flexibility of attending the meetings or the jobs permits more, you know, to accommodate them.
If we had a healthy discussion, I'm gonna start the nominations.
Would like to nominate Martha Garcia.
One nomination, anybody else wants to nominate?
You know what, Mayor, after, you know, talking to different people and you know, hearing good things that this person's doing and that she has the time and so I would like to second the motion.
We'll now open it up for nomination.
I would like to nominate Juan Castillo.
There's a second for vice mayor, is there a second for Mr. Castillo? How do we do this?
Well, to me, typically it's just a nomination and
Well,
an acceptance.
I wasn't entertaining a second. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's two
nominations.
Okay, for the record, has Mr. Castillo accepted?
You accept your nomination?
Yeah, I'll accept.
Roll call.
It's up to you, man. If you want to do secret ballot, if you want to do poll each person individually.
For me, I don't mind doing that in public. I mean, I respect both of them.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Castillo, I'm gonna start with you.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Castillo,
You kind of cut it off, Mayor.
Okay, Councilman Gonzalez.
since I nominated you, Mr. Castillo, pues you have my vote.
Okay.
Councilman Villalpando. Councilman Castillo.
I'll vote for myself.
Councilman Gonzalez. Okay. You, Mayor. Garcia.
Myself.
Castillo. For me. And I understand just the changing and council if we need to, Castillo has been, has had good attendance and the period is be changing it every year that just start deleting.
Congratulations, Mr. Castillo.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you did it again.
Oh.
You know what, Mayor, before we move on from this, I'd like to thank Ms. Councilwoman Garcia. She do an awesome job. And again, this is not a reflection of whether she did poorly or not. She did outstanding. But again, you know, I've had the privilege to sit in both seats, and I would love for others. This is just me personally. Others to share in that. So hopefully, you know, Mr. Castillo does an outstanding job as our vice mayor, or if he doesn't, I'm sure you'll hear about it from us. But again, you know, on my behalf, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Garcia because she did do an outstanding job, and I could see her one day being in the mayor's position.
I expected that. You guys have, you know, a lot of good things. Extraordinary job, and like he said himself, of growing.
And that's what I was saying. It's not nothing against somebody, you know. It's just like, like if the spirit was to change it every year, then it just makes sense to be tweaking it. You know, we've seen Councilwoman Garcia is very active and she's everywhere. You have big shoes to fill, Castillo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there was kind of like a delay right now, so that's why I couldn't hear. But thank you guys. You know, like Councilman Villalpando said, our Vice Mayor Garcia, you know, she did awesome, you know, and yeah, I mean, I have some big shoes to fill. You know, I'm excited and happy, and thank you all. You know, thank you for the nomination and your trust. You know, I'll do my best.
I'm nominating Rodolfo. Kind of game like last time you guys voted for Carlos and you voted for. Next thing we'll do is we'll for Andrea. Vamos, sí.
Can I eat sugar?
8535 home, Mr. Castillo.
No.
I wish I could, guys. But I can't. I gotta be cautious right now.
Number 2, discussion and possible action to rectify a Scrivener error on ordinance number 2020-004 and authorize the city attorney or city clerk to change such to ordinance number 2020-005 without the need for re-adoption.
Thank you, Mayor. Continue a minute.
Mayor and Council, at the November 5th, 2020 Council meeting, Mayor and Council held the second reading by title only of Ordinance 2020-004. But as it turns out, there's a minor mistake on the title of that ordinance. That ordinance number was already taken by another ordinance, and so we're asking that we be able to change the ordinance number to 2020-004 without the need for readoption or canceling that ordinance. There currently is no procedure in our code or elsewhere to correct these type of mistakes, and so we want to make sure that we get your authorization and that gets reflected on the minutes to avoid any type of open meeting violation or any of that nature. So it's just a request for you to authorize either myself, the city attorney, or the city clerk to make that minor modification.
There are motions to authorize taking the number 2020-004 to more than 2020-005. So moved. The motion by Councilman Rulan. Second by Councilman Galindo. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 3, discussion of possible action to approve first reading by title only of ordinance 2020-006, an ordinance of the city of the mayor and council of the city of Somerton, amending the city code in regards to authority to correct scrivener's errors, filling any conflicting provisions, and providing for severability.
So good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, Jorge Lozano, City Attorney. As you just found out on the prior item, there currently are no procedures for correcting mistakes on our resolutions, ordinances, etc. So currently, if an error is made on a document, it must be brought up to council for correction, and it has to be reflected on the minutes. This sample ordinance I found from the city of Clarkdale, which is right next to Cottonwood, and I researched some other areas. But this ordinance authorizes the city attorney and the city clerk to correct commonplace mistakes such as misspellings, grammatical numbering, and other minor corrections. So it's not authorizing any type of intent within an ordinance, but your common practice errors that from time to time can occur. So within the ordinance, you'll see that if there's a misspelling, grammatical error, a numbering error, cross-reference error, or inconsistent with the style adopted for the city code, so the way it's formatted within. So those are the only type of corrections you would authorize us to do under the ordinance.
Any questions or comments?
I do have a question, Mayor. The question is, just out of curiosity, before the document gets to, to the final draft, how many times is it edited and revised?
Well, Mr. Castillo, typically the department head prepares the item and the documentation. It then gets through our workflow. It goes to the city attorney. It goes through the city manager for approval. But very rarely do we find a mistake. Like I said, this is a numbering mistake. It could be a punctuation mistake. They're very minor, and if when we pass an ordinance, we might just leave it as is. But I think it's better practice to have the ability to go back and correct it, especially if we're going to print it out in the Yuma Sun and put it out as the city's code.
Right.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve first reading by title only of ordinance number 2020-006? Motion by Councilman Gonzalez.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Castillo. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Yes, a reading, the first reading by title. I'll do it. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Somerton, Arizona, amending the city code in regards to authority to correct scrivener's errors, repealing any conflicting provisions, and providing for severability.
Item number 4, discussion and possible action to approve memorandum of understanding between the state of Arizona, city of Somerton, and various participating local governments known as Arizona Opiate Settlement Memorandum of Understanding to jointly approach settlement negotiations with the pharmaceutical supply chain system.
So Mayor and Council, in front of you, you have a memorandum of understanding. Up until this afternoon, there were still a couple of questions. If you would like to discuss this item in E-session, we may be able to answer some of those questions, and then we can bring it back into a regular council agenda item so we can take an official vote.
Yeah,
that's my recommendation. Okay.
Item number 5, discussion and possible action to enter into cooperative.
No, we're not tabling, we're just maybe recalling it at a later time so that we can, discuss it in e-session.
Yeah, because we can't discuss it today in this session, but it's not.
Mr. Villalpando, actually on our agenda, we have according to our open meeting laws, we have the ability to discuss any item listed on the agenda for legal advice. So under section 11, executive session, it says, City Council may vote to hold an executive session for the purpose of obtaining legal advice from the council's attorney on any matter listed on the agenda. And that's pursuant to state law, ARS 38-431.0383. So items that are actually listed on the agenda, you guys can decide to take some advice on.
All right. Number 5, discussion of possible action to enter a cooperative purchasing agreement with Arizona Purchasing by and through Yuma Union High School District number 70 and Yuma Educational Purchasing Association and school districts in the state of Arizona as identified in the agreement.
Sarina can't make it today, she's feeling ill. But what this is, I think most municipalities and most school districts use several purchasing agencies kind of just to post when items go out to bid. Mostly they get used for large projects, construction mainly. You do have purchasing of paper and that kind of materials, supplies and materials that get used and they get posted on actually it used to be called YEPCA or YEMPA. Now it's Arizona Purchasing, and I think the city of Yuma uses it. Many municipalities use it. It's just an agreement for us to be able to publish our items in that website, and it gets everybody who is actually in their list. It's free for all vendors. So what they do is just register in there, and then once an item that's out there for bid, they'll receive that notification. That's all it is. It's for notification of all vendors. And it's thousands of vendors in not only for the local, but obviously the state. And some of them are national that register in there as well.
Any questions or comments?
Not on this. I'll make a motion to approve.
It's a motion by Councilman Villalpando.
Second.
Second by Councilman Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Summary of current events.
Our COVID numbers have stayed consistent at 11% positive rate. It seems like it is kind of stable, but essentially now it's been hitting more at home, meaning our city employees. There's more and more city employees that do have COVID now. And that's one of the reasons why we have closed City Hall. It's like I said, getting home more than anything else. And we want to keep our not only our employees safe, but the community safe as well. We will start coordinating on staff rotation if we continue to get more staff, at least in City Hall, so to work from home. Some staff, we're still getting those numbers. Once we get a higher number, then we'll end up doing kind of the same, make sure that we have a VPN and get that information out there to those employees that can work from home. A future agenda item is on our T-Mobile easement at Joe Munoz Park. That'll be on our next, probably in January. They're willing to negotiate and help the skate park. So we'll bring that to your attention. Carmen is out of town. Carmen, Community Development, she has to take her mom to the doctor in Phoenix. So staff is reviewing the improvement plans resubmitted by Light and Soul Phase 3. Once these plans are approved, the developer will continue working with the changes already approved by council. The request has been submitted to review a proposal to build an apartment complex at the southwestern corner of Somerton Avenue and Madison Street. The staff will be meeting with a developer this week to discuss this proposal. Plan and Zoning Commission will be reviewing the infield incentive overlay plan at a special meeting on December 7th, 6 p.m. for potential recommendations. I don't know if, Chief, are you there? Chief Yanda? He might not be there because he's also part of that rotation of one part-time employee has come down with COVID. Kudos to Judge Figueroa for making arrangements to all of our department staff tested on Monday morning. He didn't respond to any COVID-19 calls during his shift, so it is believed he was infected outside the work environment. Kudos to Battalion Chief Carlos. Chief Carlos has made an arrangement with the Yuma County Department of Public Health for COVID-19 rapid test that we can administer ourselves for public safety workers. Chief Carlos, Inspector Ballesteros, and I have taken the online classes necessary to administer the nasal swab and test. When firefighters or police officers become symptomatic or have had a known exposure to COVID-19 infected person, we will be able to test them and have the results in 15 minutes. We have lost 5 personnel to Yuma and San Luis, and we're already 1 person shy from complete staffing, so we're now down 6 personnel to 25% of our department. Jesus Mesa, are you there?
Yeah. Hello, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. This is Jesus Mesa, Parks and Recreation Director. I have a few updates. Just in kudos to the staff, the special events coordinator, Ms. Bisa Garcia, and the whole team organized a very nice tree lighting event yesterday. Went well. It was a drive-through. We didn't have too many kids walking around, no large gatherings. It was very nicely coordinated and very successful. I've had good comments from the public. Also, we confirmed the agreement with Smart Solutions LLC yesterday, November 30th, and the project at Joe Munoz Court is up and running. Should be done in about a month, and we're going to be looking at all the specifics and meeting with Mr. Lozano pretty soon. Make sure everything's going well, and we have a good project going on. Also, the HVAC project, it's already in discussions with finance. Finance department has been very helpful gathering the information for the contracts in the state. So we expedite this process a little bit more, so we don't have to do the RFP process and all that, piggybacking from what Yuma or other municipalities in the state are doing. And we have very good options. Just want to invite everybody, the departments, for our Christmas caravan slash light parade. It's just going to be something internal, small, token of appreciation for the public. Make a presence there and create some life and a warm feeling of the holidays for the community. It's going to be December 11th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's going to start at Jefferson and it's going to end around George Street and in front of Centennial Park. So this is an open invitation for all the city departments and nonprofits, and of course, council's invited. Want to be there? Just send me a message, an email. We'll make sure we have you jotted down for the agenda and the lineup. That's about it.
Thank you. Certainly, Juarez Chief Police, she actually had to run out for a call, a possible, actually huge accident that just occurred on County 15. So there might be some fatalities. We're currently working on updating our policy. Actually, I'm having a meeting with her tomorrow regarding her police policy. The dispatchers and 2 support staff have done an excellent job of keeping our communication centers up and running while we have staff out. Our traffic has been steady and our officers have been instructed to stay on the busiest streets for high hours of traffic to encourage good behavior. Ms. Farina Gallegos, like I mentioned, she's ill. An offer was presented to one of the account payables candidates. The response is expected no later than tomorrow. She had accepted, as a matter of fact. She accepted it today. working with accountants and auditors for fiscal year end. She's also began working on budget spreadsheets. However, not all payrolls have been posted, so she's working on that general ledger with payroll to make sure that that process gets completed. Sam, are you there?
Yes, good evening, Mayor and City Council. Our contractor started today pruning the palm trees on West Main Street in front of the swimming pool. Also, our contractor installed new rope LED lights on those palm trees. Tomorrow, they will continue pruning the palm trees on the east side and replace the damaged lights on 2 or 3 palm trees in the same location. Also, an update on the water tank project. Our contractor completed painting the exterior tank in the same color as the water tower and started painting the city logo on the back of the tank. That's all that I have, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Hector, Mr. Tapia.
Mayor and council members, just an update of the new small business coming to town, the Cabana Breakfast and Grill. As I mentioned last meeting, the opening is supposed to be this Tuesday, but because of one of the business owners got sick, they postponed it to Monday, 5 p.m. You're invited to come to the grand opening, Monday, 5 p.m. It's supposed to be this Tuesday, but because of that, what happened, they're postponing the opening until Monday. It's going to be next to the gas station on Bingham and Main Street, where the old New Harvest restaurant used to be. The interior, we changed the interior. It looks very nice looking. A small business, so I feel welcome for breakfast in the mornings. I was told also Saturdays and Sundays. As you know, we don't have many breakfast places in Somerton, so this will be a welcome to any one of you that would like to go breakfast in the weekend. Also, the Adidas Panaderia, the business owner, Gustavo Ortega, he would like to donate a freestanding sign, pretty nice, huge sign, to put business names and a map to locate the businesses in Somerton. He was supposed to come today to show it to you outside, but because I had to do a COVID test today, he wasn't not able to make it. I was able to see it last week, and it's a nice looking sign, a freestanding sign. It cost him $14,000. He would like to donate to the city. Will be based off with the direction. We can find a location, maybe on Main Street or someplace else. But it's a very nice looking sign. And he's willing to donate it to the city. That's all I have here.
Vice Mayor Castillo.
Well, Mayor, I just want to thank staff and everyone for, the tree lighting ceremony. I mean, I was able to view it live. Wasn't able to attend in person. I also want to go ahead and thank council, for, putting their trust in me and nominating me, for the vice mayor. I have some big shoes to fill. I feel honored and privileged to have the opportunity to really serve our, our beloved Somerton. So thank you for that. I mean, I'm grateful for the experience that that I will be gaining this upcoming year. And aside from that, I wish I could have been there. Unfortunately, taking all the precautionary measures, I feel fine, but gotta make sure that everything's okay before I go out in public. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Just like Vice Mayor Castillo, I just want to thank staff for the tree lighting. I wasn't able to attend either, but I saw it live just like he did. I did stop by about 7:30, and I was able to talk to Risa and It's beautiful the way they did the whole thing, and I know it took a lot of time. And so thank you, Parks and Rec and Public Works. And I just want to thank also publicly to Sam. I don't know if he's listening, but the fact that you only have very limited manpower and how much has been accomplished to keep the city nice and clean. And so I want to give kudos to all the public works people. I know it, like I say, you only a few, but you guys are very hardworking people. So keep up the good work, and hope everything goes well and nobody gets sick.
Just like the other council members, I'd like to thank all departments that contributed to the lighting ceremony. Their hard work is really appreciated. One thing I do want to bring to staff's attention is the parking of these trailers out in the middle of the street. And I'm not talking about the ones where they have sides that actually look like a travel trailer. It's the flatbed ones. Those are, I believe, are against city code of having parking out in the street. And when we were out there during Halloween time, we were out there doing the judging. I almost ran into a couple just because there is some dark spots out there, especially in the Hall subdivision. So, just a reminder for staff that you need to remind residents that those aren't allowed to be parked in the street for an extended period of time. So,
The other guy was going down Main Street towards San Luis, and I noticed there's some empty houses on the north side. And those houses have been there for a while, and I don't know if the city can clean them up or contact the owners if they can clean up their part. It looks kind of dirty, in front of the swimming pool. There's couches in front, there's abandoned cars, and I think it's Main Street. They should be, they can clean it. If not, the city can clean it for them and then use the property. And also, I would like to, whose property is the one over here next to fire department and Family Dollar? There's a property right in between. Is that Family Dollar? No. Because I don't know who takes care of the tree, or it's kind of. Whose property is that? Do we own it, or who owns it?
I think it is Family Dollar. I checked it before.
It's not Family Dollar because I knew the young lady who used to manage that place, and they always used to get harassed about that, and it's not their property. So I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know.
Because it's right at Main Street, and maybe those big trees cut down or trim it, or or maybe a place who owns that place. Maybe it could be put up in the market or something.
Well, maybe we can find that.
Or eminent domain, so we can extend the police department. I'm all for eminent domain. Thank you.
Just like everybody else, thank you, staff, for the commitment with the lighting. I know there's still not done here on Main Street, but it's looking nice. And yesterday's event was really nice, very well attended. I think the kids weren't expecting those little gifts, and we really enjoyed it. There was no COVID call last Friday because it's a long weekend, but as you can see, numbers are creeping up. The weekend numbers were very high, and today we're 400. In Yuma, so yeah, IRC is starting to get worried about hospital beds and the limits that they have with staff. Also, thank you for the opportunity to serve as vice mayor. Was very it was a good challenge and great learning.
If I can just go back to, because I read Mr. Alindo, what I'm saying about the cleaning, is there any, can we send a letter to Brian Hall or, so you can clean that area there where he has his property, right in front of Tierra del Sol? I mean, that is one of our main interests as well. I mean, that thing looks horrible. I know we have a city code that you can be,
That was done with developers.
Carmen wasn't here today, so I couldn't mention her, we talked about.
Now we can put the mayor, the missing mayor. He's been there for like 3 meetings. Getting old. And I want to thank staff too. I said yesterday, the park looks great, and during this time, finding something creative to bring the community together. I think that was a great event. Well attended. Thank you. I want to thank Vice Mayor Garcia too. She was, very. I would say the hardest worker here in our council. She's always available and different committees and everything. So Castillo, it was at least 1 year of hard work. Not just the grocery store.
That too, Mayor.
With that said, we have 2 items in executive session. We have a discussion MOUs for the state and the city of Somerton, various participating local governments known as North Arizona Opioid Settlement MOU to jointly approach settlement negotiations with pharmaceutical and supply chain participants. And we have a second executive session. Discussion and consultation with city attorney in order to instruct attorney on the city's position regarding contract negotiation with Yuma Union High School District relating to facilities, infrastructure, and all fees relating to.
Mayor, just to remind you, we do have to come back to an open meeting to take legal action on the one remaining item.
So we're not going to adjourn to executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive? Second. The motion by Councilwoman Garcia, second by Councilman Rodriguez, in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carry. So we're going to have a 5-minute break and then go into executive session.
Do I stay logged in, or do you want me, or are you gonna send me a new link?
No.
It's gonna be the same.
Log off and then we'll call you on the phone.
They're gonna call you.
Vice Mayor.